Welcome back, everyone, to the Profits for Sanity Podcast. I'm your host, Dominic Caminata, CEO and founder of Grosso University. As many of you know, the mission of this podcast is to bring on the brightest minds in the home improvement industry that can educate you how to build a more profitable business. And today's guest brings a powerful combination of big tech innovation and blue-collar execution. So joining me today is Craig Kitterman. So thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
And he spent more than 25 years building products at Microsoft and other major tech companies before stepping into the window and door industry to co-found a legendary product called Window Edge AI. In this episode, we're going to unpack what shocked him the most about how dealers operate, why speed and structured sales process are absolutely critical to performance, and how AI can actually bring more profit, less chaos, and better systems to growing home improvement companies. So you want to tell everyone, Craig, where you're from?
Yeah, I live in Snoqualmie, Washington. I'm, born and bred in the Pacific Northwest. So that's been my home for, better part of 48 years.
Yeah, we had the honor of having Adrian on the podcast very recently. And my understanding, you two are pretty much neighbors. You've known each other for a while. You want to explain your relation to Adrian?
Yeah, Adrian and I met probably, 5 or 6 years ago. We ended up coaching football together, youth football, 8th graders, won the championship.
Congrats.
Yeah. Actually,
Washington, Seattle, just winning everything lately.
Yeah, we can't, all we do is win,
Yeah.
So, we had the opportunity to coach together. As part of that, I got to, see Adrian as a leader and a coach, which is really what his life has been about, and just somebody that I respected, looked up to, and wanted to, partner with in various ways. Our boys are close friends. And so and our wives are friends, and we get the opportunity to see each other around the neighborhood and hang out quite a bit, actually.
That's amazing. Yeah. That's a really great story. That's really cool to see two really talented individuals and bright minds in their own capacity collaborate together to create something truly special, which I'm excited to learn more about Window Edge. And those of you watching, if you're in the window and door space, make sure you got your notepads out, because there's a lot of really cool, innovative things that are coming in the very near future that are going to transform the way you can run your business and optimize like everything from phone call to install, everything in between, which is really, really exciting. So of course, somebody that spent as many years as you, 25 years, with companies like Microsoft and other big tech companies, transitioning from that into the window and door space, right? Of course, you talked, Adrian is a good agent of influence that helped influence that decision, but hold on, closers. Are you ready to stop losing deals to the same tired old objections? At Grosso University, we've created this free closers guide just for you, which is a proven step-by-step framework to overcome any objection in the home improvement industry. This is the exact system used by top producers in the game, closing at over 70% plus, including record-breaking selling streaks such as 40 sales in a row. Inside, you'll learn how to get to the true emotional root origin of every objection, crush resistance with confidence, and close like an absolute professional. The best part is, this framework will teach you how to become a tenacious one-call closer without building any pressure whatsoever. Don't leave money on the table. Download your free closer's guide now and start turning objections into opportunities. As always at Grosso University, yes, you are a closer, and back to the video. What was the big thing you saw lacking in terms of how most home improvement companies operate, that the opportunity was really apparent to you in this industry to start infusing more technology and more systems?
Yeah, I think just a lot of manual processes, leads getting lost in the funnel. I see how much money these companies are investing in their marketing, and then seeing these leads just falling on the floor, going to voicemail or somebody's inbox, and they get dealt with the next day or maybe a couple days later or so on. And meanwhile, those prospects have moved on, to other companies, and seeing sales reps in the field writing things on pieces of paper and then later either handing that to someone else or going and hand keying that information into a system, and just a lot of inefficiencies all the way through. And frankly, those employees, spending a lot of time and energy on tasks that they'd rather not be doing instead of the things that they're uniquely qualified to do, which is, is to sell and, create customer experiences with human empathy.
Yeah.
We want to take all that boring rote work out and put them in the position to do the things they actually want to do.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, the home improvement industry is one of the only totally fragmented major industries left in America. And of course, there's a consolidation occurring now that's changing that. Sure. But yeah, very much wild, wild west. People shoot from the hip, just make it up as they go. There's not a lot of method to the madness, which is why companies like mine exist. You know, we add some structure and some systems and processes to a very important pillar of their business, right? But what's interesting about AI now, and obviously AI is disrupting the world in a way, not in a negative way, but you know, it's optimizing every industry. But the home improvement industry, how quickly they're adopting to AI is actually mind-blowing to me. Because typically the industry was like 10, 15, 20 years behind the rest of the world. Yep. And it almost appears like the home improvement industry, I wouldn't say they're at the front lines, but they almost seem to be like close to the front lines of like getting disrupted by AI in a way where it's like owners are implementing this everywhere in their business at like record speed. And there's hundreds of new AI companies coming into the industry for all different types of pillars of the business, different types of services with sales and marketing. So it's just crazy to see how quickly this industry is adopting AI. And a product like yours, it really has a unique way of kind of bringing all this together, because that's one thing that scares owners is I need an AI for this pillar of my business, for this, you know, software stack, and for this department. It's like I got 25 AIs all talking different languages. Like, how do I organize all this madness so I can, you know, not make this more of a headache than anything? And I think that's what stops owners from even pursuing this. It's kind of scary. It's like they feel like they're just going to lose control. Sure. Right? So what would you say to that? Like an owner that's just like, you know, I'm going to sit back and wait because, you know, this seems really messy right now because there's all these different AI shiny objects. I don't want to chase them all because they're just fear of losing that control or maybe even causing more headaches, right? So how does one begin that process, right?
Yeah, I mean, like any other technology decision, you know, a lot of times technology salespeople will romance the idea of, hey, here's what this product can be. And you know, I've talked to dealers who have invested hundreds of thousands of dollars in CRM systems and all these different things because of this promise that they have, and then that investment never really quite materialized in the way that it was explained to them, because you have to be able to deliver technology in a way that's sort of seamless to the organization, and it melts into the background. It doesn't become an area of friction where you have to now upskill and train your employees and all of that. And so, you know, as you look at the evolution that's happening and the solutions that are coming on board, it's really important to focus on the solutions that, you know, are going to be very easy to implement and adopt, and are going to remove a lot of that friction that right now exists between all these different disparate systems. And instead of being one more thing you're trying to bolt on and figure out how to work with all your other things, it's got to be a system that brings everything together into one unified experience, and something that doesn't have that steep learning curve associated with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I've heard some people say, you know, AI should never be thought of something that's going to occupy more of your time. It's supposed to give you your time back and save you time and give you your life back. And Adrian even talked about giving you your sense of freedom back, right? Giving you more free time so you can do the things you want to do. That's the way you want to be thinking about AI in your business. I know some owners, though, they do think of it as just another thing I got to oversee and manage. I don't have the time. Well, you would have the time if you were to be more efficient with how you're doing things, right?
Yeah, it creates a maximum amount of leverage for your organization where, like, I heard you say, it's a superpower. It gives your employees like superpowers that they never had before. And so, you know, as long as it's delivered in such a way that it's accessible to everyone, all of a sudden, you know, everyone's a superhero within the organization.
Isn't that kind of a scary thought, right? That everyone has superhuman abilities now. Like if they really get their hands, what you could do with that, right?
Yeah, as long as it's used for good and not evil,
responsibly.
We'll be in a good spot.
Great power comes great responsibility. Yep. And that is very true with AI, right? Because it is a technology that could be used for good or bad, right? Hopefully more people are using for good than bad. What's unique about what you're building here is that you do have someone like Adrian that's been in the trades for over 30 years, obviously the owner of Lake Washington Windows. So how do you feel that really helps you in terms of how you're developing your AI technologies?
Yeah, I mean, you know, in full transparency, I'm new to the home improvement space. You know, I've been wallowing in this for less than a year. You know, longtime technology guy, as you mentioned. So having a partner like Adrian and not only being able to draw on his wisdom and experience, but really have the ability to be embedded deeply within his team has been transformative in terms of how we've been able to so quickly make progress on building what we believe to be, a really, really phenomenal solution for the industry. I've been doing product management, engineering stuff for, 25 plus years. And, there's always this iteration cycle where you try to get feedback and input in terms of what the customer wants. You go build something, you try to get it back in front of them and try to get some feedback. And this cycle can take anywhere from weeks to months, depending upon that access that you have with real customers. But with the type of partnership that we have in our partnership with Lake Washington Windows and Doors as an early pilot customer for everything we're doing, I mean, I've had scenarios where members of his team have come to me with an idea in the morning. We prototype something by noon, get it in front of the rest of the team by the afternoon, and it's in production the next day, and it's adding value. And that's the type of product lifecycle that I think we have to be on in order to be successful as a technology company in 2026. And this partnership has enabled us to move at that pace.
Yeah, it's amazing because when you launch this to any other company, you're not talking about things in theory. Like, this is stuff tried and true.
Exactly.
It's currently working in a real retail operation this very day, which is really priceless to be able to do that, right? So, if you were to explain Window Edge AI, just summarize, like, what is the big problem you're looking to solve within an organization? Just kind of holistically, if I were to say Window Edge AI solves this problem, how would you define that?
Yeah, I think at a macro level, it is really just creating efficiencies through your entire stack from the moment, from a moment somebody sees your ad to the moment that they've responded to your post-install survey. And every single part of that process, automating and streamlining all of that so that there's no manual work, there's no frustrating, repetitive work. And that creates speed, it creates efficiency, it creates an optimized end customer experience because they're not feeling all the friction and oddities of your clumsy internal process because it's gone, right? And your employees are much more satisfied because, again, they're up-leveling their careers. They're spending time dealing with edge cases and real customer problems and doing things that humans are uniquely qualified to do with empathy, where the AI can take over all of that, sort of all of that busy work and passing the baton from one team to another and all of that. So our vision, started out really around using AI in the front end to really capture, qualify, and book leads using the latest, AI technology. And that vision has evolved to becoming, a complete operating system for home improvement companies that is built from the ground up with AI. We're constantly researching and learning the newest techniques and technologies and thinking about how can we bring those forward into the product as quickly as possible. So our dealers and our partners have the latest and greatest every single day. And so we really want to create that unified operating system that sort of handles this entire process for you.
So how do you design this where, a lot of people are fearful when they implement new technology that it's overly complicated, it's a long learning curve. How do you design Window Edge where it's simple and easy to use and it doesn't take too long for people to start implementing it in their business?
Yeah, the great thing about it is because of where we are in the technology, and this is really, we're at this magic moment in time with technology. I've been doing this for a long time, and I've never seen anything like this, and we probably will never see a revolution quite like this where there's just the step change in capability that's happening. It's on an accelerated time frame. And what it allows you to do is to deliver a user experience that is unlike everything you've ever done before. So, where users can interact with a piece of technology using their voice in a very natural and seamless way, where they can say, hey, I'd like a report of my close rate in the month of December on Tuesdays when the moon was out. And to be able to ask that question and immediately get back the answer without having to understand which buttons to click, which screen to go to, how to write a query. All of that stuff melts away and it just becomes a very human-like experience that has no steep learning curve associated with it.
Yeah, I mean, the ability for you to own your business, own your numbers, know your business. It just seems like you're going to get basically you just speak it into existence, right? It's like whatever you need to know about what's going on with your sales performance, with your marketing, with your business, you can just interact with this AI and it pretty much give you exactly what you need right at your fingertips.
Exactly.
So, yeah, that's really, really powerful stuff. So when you look at designing a product like Window Edge AI, can you just kind of map it out for somebody watching this? So I call like Lake Washington Windows. Like, how does it pick up the phone? How does it answer the phone? How do you make it seem like a natural conversation? And is like the AI like setting the appointment, or are they doing a live transfer? Kind of how does that process unfold?
Yeah, so there's a whole stack of technologies, at play there, and building these things requires, things like speech to text technology, using of LLMs that are kind of the brain of the system, and then you have text to speech technology, and then you have all the systems and functions that allow you to do things like book appointments. So there is a lot of complexity there, but the cool thing is we can abstract all that complexity away and create this really seamless experience. So when you call, you get a very human-like voice, a very conversational tone. And that agent's job is to answer your questions fully about the products, the services that this particular company offers. Anything from what types of windows do you carry, to what types of installations can you do, to what are your financing options this month? Do you have any promotions? All of that type of information can be handled by the agent. And then the agent's job is to either help you start on your journey with this project by setting up an appointment, a sales consultation, or transferring you to accounting, or if you need to speak to a specific person, it can also do, basic call routing and things. But the power really lies in the ability for it to, again, answer those questions, fully qualify a lead. So understand, hey, are they in the service area? Is the project scope right for us? And then go through the process of actually booking that appointment, doing things like address validation. They read off their address using, cloud APIs like Google APIs to actually do address validation in real time to make sure we don't send the salesperson to the wrong address because we transposed something, or the AI agent didn't quite hear right what was happening. And so we can integrate all of those things that you would want your phone room to do, but we can do it, instantaneously. And this voice agent can do that in a very seamless way. Most of our appointments are booked within 3 minutes of the call, and going through the entire Q&A, qualification, and booking process is less than 3 minutes. So it's very efficient. And most people really, I think, are experiencing what they perceive as a pretty delightful experience. Yeah. Some people call, and at first they're like, wait a second, is this one of those, because we're at a point in the technology where you can still tell a little bit that the voice isn't 100% natural. And 6 months from now, I don't think you'll be able to. And as a matter of fact, technology is evolving on this every day. So we're to a point where like every week there's new things that we're testing and trying that get a little bit closer to that just perfectly natural human experience. But when people perceive that it's AI, some people are like, oh no, am I going to have to push 0 and go this and do this? And am I talking to my bank, But once they realize this is a very capable conversational agent, I think people kind of light up and they're like, oh, this is actually pretty interesting. And, I was able to achieve my goal in 3 minutes, which is great.
How does the AI respond when they say the inevitable or ask the inevitable? Like, is this an AI? Like, how does it respond?
Yeah, I mean, we believe in full transparency. We're not trying to disguise the fact that this AI or dupe anyone or trick anyone. That the AI, the way that we train the AI is that it's fully disclosed. Yeah, hey, I'm an AI agent powered by Window Edge AI. If you'd prefer to talk to a human, no problem. I'll happily transfer you to a human. So we want to meet customers where they are. Some people are, don't want to talk to a machine, even if it's the smartest AI in the world. They just don't want to. And so it's really important to us to be, clear, transparent, and then give people the options that they want.
So what's your thought on going full AI in a call center versus having a hybrid call center? Because I have heard some owners saying they want to go full AI. They don't want a human being answer a phone ever again. And I think that's a mistake. I think it kind of needs to be that hybrid model, because I feel like that will be a differentiator for companies as time goes on, when everything is AI inevitably, right? Yep. Where it's like, my competition, it's almost like when we used to differentiate having a call center in Indonesia or, the Philippines versus we have real human beings on call 24/7 to answer your questions right here in town. That human touch, that hometown local feel. So you have the AI that does the heavy lifting, but then you also have the human element. If people need to talk to a real person, it's a hybrid model. But what an amazing thing you're doing for your call center representatives, right? Because if the AI can do all the heavy lifting, kind of filter through all the BS, all the unqualified leads, all the disgruntled people, like all the negative stuff they're usually exposed to, which causes these call centers have rapid turnover. Like people just get burnt out from it. Now it's like most of their time is spent talking with quality, confirmed, like actual real prospects that have an interest, and the AI can kind of filter through all that stuff. It makes their life way more pleasant. Right? Exactly.
And, there's a lot of spam calls coming in, marketing solicitation, like, hammering through, 40, 50 of those calls a day. That burns somebody out, by the end of the day. And so absolutely getting that filter, when somebody really wants to talk to a person, when they're really qualified, those are delightful experiences. And so I agree with you. I think the hybrid mode is the right mode, at least at this time in space and history. And, maybe attitudes will change in the next, 10 or 15 years. Yeah. And who knows, maybe the pendulum will swing back and people will want more human experiences. But for right now, I think that hybrid mode creates the most leverage and also just meets customers where they are.
I don't have a crystal ball, but I kind of see that happening, where things will be more AI and then things will be like almost all AI, and then people will desire more human. It's like the human interactions will be more valuable. So I think in just kind of being proactive about that, kind of intentionally building it out as a hybrid model. Because there was one company that I heard of recently where they made the mistake of firing their whole call center and going all AI, and it backfired big time. And then they went the other route, then they got rid of the AI, and then they went all human again, and it still wasn't right. And then they figured, okay, if we do the best of both, that's the sweet spot, especially like leveraging AI, after hours. You can be available 24/7 for people to, get contacted, schedule an appointment, all that. I mean, there's people even designing AI right now that can run an entire sales encounter where you don't even have to talk to a salesperson anymore. It can fully consummate a sale. Yep. And process your credit card and process the financing. And that stuff is terrifying in a way, but it's also exciting if you could be at the front lines of it, right? Absolutely. So when someone calls in, I think your goal is like 30 seconds roughly to talk to somebody, right? Speed to lead, 30 seconds or less. Is that?
Yeah. I mean, our inbound voice agents, answer within probably, 5 to 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And when we're doing things like lead capture, like web form lead capture, where, somebody says, hey, I have a project, and click, 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 we're able to send outbound SMS-based, text-based response within about 30 seconds there as well. So, a large percentage of the bookings that we're seeing are now happening 9:30, 10:30 at night. People are home. They start to think about their home improvement projects. They start surfing around on Google and they go fill out a form. And their typical experience there is, maybe they'll get a call back the next day. Maybe they'll get a call back in 2 days. They might go fill out 3 or 4 forms because they don't know who's actually even going to call them back, right?
No, communication in this industry is god awful.
We're able to reach out with a leading edge AI model that is very conversational, has full knowledge and understanding of the business, and can have an unlimited conversation with this person. And over text, the customer doesn't even know. They really don't even know it's an AI agent unless they ask, right? because it's so good.
Do you do even like purposeful typos and stuff like that?
No, we haven't got into that.
Okay.
Like, again, we're not trying to deceive.
Yeah.
Not trying to deceive. We're just trying to create a delightful and efficient experience. And if they ask, we'll be honest and straightforward.
Not trying to pretend you're something you're not.
Not trying to fake it. I don't, that's disingenuous. That's not how we.
No, I agree with you.
Business,
That's smart. I just know because I've talked with other AI companies. They program their SMS their automation that way, where they do purposeful typos, where they'll mistype a word and then do the asterisk or the correction, and they're just trying to figure out any and all ways to make it feel more like a human conversation. But just you don't have to fake it. Yeah. So I think that's smart. So obviously you talk about AI in the front lines. Like, how do you see Window Edge AI helping that sales professional, that in-home closer when they walk in the door? How do you see that kind of optimizing the sales process, making that more efficient, more streamlined?
Yeah, there's lots of layers to that. Yeah. So, we're working on AI-powered quoting tools that'll actually be used in the field. And there's several layers to it. So one is just making sure that the rep is prepared before they go in. They have the full context of the conversation, summaries of the conversation that were generated by AI in terms of the things that we know are relevant to their initial sales call. We can do analytics on the home. of the homeowner. Like, when was it last sold? Or did they just buy this place? Are they going to do some renovations?
So the AI is pulling those data points as well.
We can pull a lot of data from the internet about the home, about the homeowner, the history of the sales. Hey, this is the style of home. These are the typical things that you might run into.
So it's almost like they're getting a full report so they can do their due diligence and go into every sales encounter with next level of preparation, exactly what they're getting into.
Exactly. And then, and if they really want to go deep, they can go listen to the audio of the phone call. They can go look at that text conversation and see everything raw if they want, or they can look at these various, roll-ups. So it's sort of up to them how deep they want to go. Just in terms of preparation.
Wow.
Now, when we get into the home and we're doing the inspection and we're walking through with the homeowner and actually talking about the project details, we're creating a voice-based experience that allows the rep to actually just dictate into their phone, all of the details of the opening, their measurements, all of the frame color and all the specifics. And all of that's getting captured in real time. So by the time they sit down at the kitchen table for that conversation and that proposal, they have a fully detailed quote with pricing and everything ready to go. Wow. Before they literally even sit down at the table. So there's no scratching. And I've been out on ride-alongs with reps who they're sweating it. They're trying to have a conversation with the homeowner while they're typing things in, and and they got to go to 3 different portals, because it's a multi-supplier project maybe, and so they got to go to multiple different quoting tools and. Or they go out to they hide in their car for an hour and then come back in, it's like, no, we want to take that and make it a modern, again, delightful experience for both the rep and the homeowner, accelerate the entire process. You're not wasting that homeowner's time. And now guess what? Your rep can go do, 4 calls a day instead of 3 because that process has been so streamlined and your close rate's probably going to go up too.
That's insane. So I think I heard from Adrian when they're kind of voicing the different elements of the project, it'll even help spot check for things based on codes and regulations. Exactly. You want to kind of walk through that, how that works? Yeah,
I mean, the idea is we're trying to pull in as many, local municipality, most of the stuff's published online. And so we can basically go extract all of that information and use that as training data. So based on the zip code of the home, we can pull the local codes. And so if I go up to a bathroom window and I'm dictating and I say, hey, I got a bathroom window, it's this size. And, and then I say, I'm done with this one. It'll say, hey, well, wait a second, is that bathroom window, within 60 inches of a bath or tub?
Yep.
And if you say, yeah, it'll say, okay, well, let's add, local code says we need to add tempered glass. Yep. And would you like privacy glass too? Because it's a bathroom. Yeah. Like, oh yeah, I didn't think of that, so I should probably do privacy glass. So the idea is really empowering the rep. Again, it's that superpower, empowering the rep to do everything right the first time without having to go back and, redo things change or orders. Slow things down. Yeah. Huge inefficiency. I can't tell you how many change orders we would have in a year where reps just simply miss things. And I was often overseeing the commissions and calculating everything. And I can't tell you how many times reps missed the tempered glass or they missed the lead paint abatement and all the extra things that, oversized windows, oversized upcharges and things of that nature. And what styles of windows can or can we not put in this opening? So having an AI that has all that data pre-built in that can walk them through that process, that's going to obviously be highly impressive. It's going to increase closing and trust and conversion on leads, but it's also going to increase average sale and retention and not have to worry about all these change orders and profitability, of course, of the job. Absolutely. No salesperson likes to see their commission get chewed up because they missed a few things, because tempered glass is expensive. That's a really great example of that. So obviously it walks them through the measure and inspection process. Is there anything you're looking to develop within Window Edge AI where it even helps them personalize the in-home presentation as well, specific to that customer? Yeah, it's definitely something we're exploring. We haven't gone down that road yet, but I think being able to bring in whatever sales system they use, hopefully it's Grosso and only Grosso, whatever their SOPs are for the business, and making sure that all gets sort of codified in this entire process. So again, it's just plug and play for the rep, and they can focus again on that connection with the homeowner and really closing the sale instead of the procedural parts of it. Yeah, because that's one thing people really do desire is a personalized experience, right? And I think if a rep can show up and it's evident that they put all this preparation into tailor making a presentation just for that customer,
based on the data points, like there's a lot of ways we get that information without getting too invasive, you know, freaking out the homeowner.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
But personalizing in a way where it feels like, wow, I mean, this home, it's like I built it. It's almost like I built this presentation just for you. It makes them feel special, like you truly care, right? You're giving them that 5-star white glove experience. They're not going to get from some amateur contractor.
It's a great idea. I think we need to go deeper there for sure.
That's why preparation, I created that as step one, because there was not enough training on what a sales rep could do to prepare for an appointment. But especially now with the advent of AI, and I first discovered a lot of this stuff when I was doing virtual selling. I was selling windows and baths from my basement over Zoom on a one-call close. And I was doing that for a while and, pound my chest a little bit. So I was one-call closing windows and baths virtually at 40% demo to close. One call over Zoom, people like closing them on their cell phones and stuff. Without, knowing much about the technology at the time, I just knew the system. But I learned how important preparation was when I was virtually selling, because when you don't have that in-person experience, when I can't adapt to my environment and build rapport and commonality and all this stuff, and have that human energy transfer that you do when you're in the home at the kitchen table, I had to be more dialed in on the research I was doing in advance. So that's when I started to stumble upon some of the AI tools. But I was doing a lot of stuff old school, like going on real estate websites and researching the home the old-fashioned way and going on their social media accounts. And every now and then I would hit the jackpot. We'd have a mutual friend. I'm like, that's gold right there. I'm going to use that to my advantage. Somehow, I don't know how, but I'm going to bring up their name in conversation. Yep. And it's going to be a great way to build rapport. But with what you're providing, I mean, it's kind of almost like cheating, but in a good way. Yep. It's like, I was saying this to Adrian when he was on the podcast, like my goal is to build systems and processes and a foundation where the salespeople literally have to go out of the way and be creative to mess it up. And that's essentially what you're providing with this tool. And you're not just for sales, but for people at the call center, you're making their lives better. You're making the whole sales experience better for the customer and the salesperson, way more efficient. Like you said, if I can run 3 appointments in a day 4 versus 3, I mean, all those little things compound. I mean, how much more efficient as a company can we be? So a $20 million company without hiring another person is now a $30 million company. It's like getting more productivity out of your existing team.
And that really carries through not just to sales, which is a critical, arguably the most critical part of the process. Mm-hmm. But once the the contract is created, getting that signed in an efficient way, getting the project kicked off in accounting, and all the other internal processes that happen. There's so much paper moving between departments or emails or spreadsheets or whatever, and being able to bring that all into one unified workflow that all of these things happen automatically. It cuts that entire process down, and ultimately you're going to be delivering installations quicker because all of your internal processes have been trimmed way down, and you're going to be optimizing your customer experience. One other thing that we're doing is we're delivering what we call the homeowner project portal. Mm-hmm. And that allows the homeowner to see the status of their entire project at any given moment, mm-hmm. right? So a lot of the inbound phone calls a lot of these dealers get is like, hey, what's going on with my project? Like I signed the thing a week ago, I paid my deposit. When are we getting the windows? Yes. What's the status? Hey, what was my warranty details again? And so being able to bring all of those things into a very unified place that the homeowner can go and experience at any time, 24 hours a day from their phone, and get the latest and greatest updates on the process and make that all self-service. Yeah. I'm sure they're welcome to call in and have that conversation if they'd like to. But we're trying to make this as streamlined and simple as possible and make sure that everyone has the information from internal employees to the customer at every point in the process to make this as smooth as silk. Mm-hmm.
And then are you incorporating text automation in terms of like status updates? Like, your windows have been ordered, your windows are shipped, your windows have arrived. Let's schedule the installation. Like, are they getting text follow-up and automation?
Yeah, anytime there's an action that is required by somebody, that's being managed by the AI, including following up. If they don't get, you send them a text, they don't follow up, the AI follows up politely and says, hey, just to let you know that we want to keep your project on track. Here's what needs to happen.
So that's so important, right? Because going back old school when I was using the 3-ring binder and we're doing everything on paper and we didn't have text automation, all these tools and AI, of course, I would make a sale and weeks would go by with no communication. it's like an idle mind's a devil's playground. It gives the homeowner a lot of opportunity to start talking themselves out of this. Like, do we make the right choice? If you're giving these constant reminders and positive, updates in terms of the status of the project, it just makes them feel more reassured that they made the right choice. Yeah,
at every point.
Yeah, you gotta stay in front and keep top of mind, keep the excitement going too. Because I'm assuming with each one of those updates, they're getting like a dopamine hit. They're getting a reward. They're getting excited and eager to get this project installed. So I think that's absolutely brilliant. And then after the sale is made, you talked about obviously how it manages the back end. Any other things in terms of the production side, in terms of like, assisting with back end installation and, even like recapping the job and even like collecting payment at the end? Is there anything you're working on there to really
the
wrap
entire
it up?
life cycle? Honestly, we're really building a modern CRM that is specifically designed for home improvement, and it really captures all the pieces of the process, from the orders to manufacturers to when the stuff comes into the warehouse, what happens to it, where is it stored, setting up the crews for installation, making sure the right crews are assigned, and all of that is handled. And the other important piece is, for the deals that don't close, how do we handle that? Well, we have now rehash agents that will follow up with the customer after that initial sales consultation and send them a survey initially to try to understand what their experience was during that consultation. And if they didn't move forward, or they're choosing not to move forward, to try to tease out those objections and warm that lead back up to a place where we can re-engage with a secondary offer or some other way for the rep to get back engaged with that customer. And we've seen some pretty interesting success early on. We're pretty early in the rehash testing, but we ran a couple batch campaigns on what we thought were dead leads, like dead in the water, and recovered over $150,000 in leads in our very first experiment. So wow. And that was more of a batch thing. We're rolling this out, so this is going to be part of every single sales call that doesn't close is going to get kicked into this automated rehash cycle. And so we're really excited about the opportunity there. And then, of course, at the very end of the process, automating the survey follow-up, making sure that we're touching the customer, making sure that we're getting as much feedback in terms of their overall experience and how we can improve, how the dealer can improve their process, and of course how we can improve their overall experience with the technology and everything in between.
Yeah, of course, this podcast is called Profits for Sanity. And like every word you're saying, I'm just hearing in my mind, cha-ching, 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 like all the efficiencies and all the additional productivity and profitability that can arise from what you're talking about. Less than 20% of the industry has any rehash program at all.
Yep.
None. They're sitting on a gold mine.
Absolutely.
Literally millions of dollars. I've ran across companies, they have 20,000, 30,000 people in their database, whether it be canceled clients or demo no sales or past customers, and they're doing nothing with that. So if you could have your AI just kind of dive in and do a lot of the heavy lifting and see what we can, bring back to life and bring back to the surface, the cream float back to the surface. It's crazy how many millions of dollars in additional revenue is waiting for you to capture, right?
Free money, and it's plug and play. I mean, it's zero effort. We get it set up, and this just automatically brings your close rates up without any effort.
So the one question people have, is there like a timeline when you're able to basically unleash AI on this list? Do the TCPA regulations and all that? Is there any restrictions to just kind of like, let's say I do have a list of 20,000 people that we've interacted with, they've agreed to communications, but sometimes that needs to be updated and renewed. Like, how do you walk that line with the regulations?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on state law. Every state's different. So there are some careful things that we need to manage there and make sure that we have opt-in permission at the right times and stuff like that. So we'll work with each dealer on, their local laws and make sure that we fully understand them and we're fully respecting them. Last thing we want to do is get them in trouble, ourselves in trouble, anybody upset. And so we definitely don't want to go outside the bounds of the regulations.
So if a contractor has a list of people and they're looking to get them to re-opt in, is there any tricks you've seen that are effective to do that? Is it something like they can send them an email or send them a text or give them a phone call? Or is there any clever way you've seen work?
I haven't seen any really clever ways to get people to opt back in. I think that's something that we need to continue to work on. But
Yeah, I just think that would be really, really valuable, right? Because if I do have a list of that many people that I want to bring back to the surface, figuring out a way to re-engage with them where I'm not coming off as, too pushy or, not making people upset where they want to like file a report on me or something like that for doing that.
But a lot of times in a transactional context, within a certain period after they've opted in, the rehash is really powerful also because it happens right after the initial sales call. That process starts. And so they've already opted in, they're already warm. And so I think, going back and mining those batch leads, you need to be careful and you need to be thoughtful about it. But that's really just a one-time thing anyway. But once you sort of handle your backlog appropriately and legally, now you have this rehash agent that's on, in perpetuity moving forward. And so those people are never going to become ice cold because you'll have that sort of transactional relationship with them moving forward.
So we've already kind of touched on this, but I kind of want you to answer this question. A lot of people are fearful of AI replacing people.
Sure.
That's it's real. It's a real fear. And let's be honest, it's going to happen with certain professions. But what are some of the things you feel are going to happen in the next few years where you will get maybe some people being replaced, but you'll also see AI supporting people, not replacing them, but enhancing what they can do and supporting them, making their lives better?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we see, again, back to, let's start at the call center. I think that's a really, really clear and obvious one where, people are spending 60% of their day, 70% of their day answering calls that don't result in any real outcome for the business. That's not particularly motivating for an individual, right? So, giving those folks the opportunity to say, hey, we want to put you in in a bigger role that's going to give you more career advancement, and you're going to be handling more strategic things for the business. You're going to be dealing with harder customer problems, but that have more impact on the outcome of these projects, and you're going to have a broader scope. You're going to be able to look, left to right across a bunch more pieces of the cycle. And we're already seeing that evolution happening where people, the best reps that are coming out of the call center are now able to go and do so much more for the business. They're more fulfilled. The business is getting a lot more out of it. And it's a win-win for everybody. So, again, I think it comes back to what we talked about at the beginning, which is we're giving them superpowers, we're giving them levers and tools. And the people who choose to embrace that leverage and figure out how can I take this newfound superpower that I have and use it to maximize my career opportunity, those are going to be the winners. If you're sitting around just hoping that, my job's going to exist forever, you're going to have a tough time. So take advantage of this moment to go and learn, get up to speed on these tools, and figure out how can I set myself apart from everybody else by maximizing my use of the latest technology.
I think it's safe just to look back at history. You look at the turnover in the call center, you look at the turnover in sales, you look at the constant burnout. We can just say honestly, it wasn't working very well. The old way of doing things, it just wasn't really optimal. It just wasn't. So I think it's about time that we start thinking differently, doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. It's not going to get you there. So having these tools and resources, technology, all the support from AI to finally, minimize all this rapid turnover and burnout of your call center and your sales team and every department within your organization, if it can enhance the lives of everyone in your company and allow you to do, twice as much or 3x what you were doing with the same staff. I mean, that's very empowering for everybody.
And let's not forget the customer side of this, right? Like having the way I think about it is this is your best call center rep that you've ever had that you have to train once, and it works 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. So just the training overhead, the turn, like you said, the turnover, every time somebody leaves, you got to train somebody new, and then they call out sick, and all these things happen. And so you can tune the quality of the experience you want your customers to have, and know that every single call that comes in is going to meet that bar 24/7, 365. That's a very unique value proposition.
So when you look at like the next 3 to 5 years in the home improvement industry, what do you think you're going to see from like the most successful window and door companies and home improvement companies in every, product vertical? What are you going to see as the big things that separate the elite companies from the average? So we're going to see the biggest shifts making in the next 3 to 5 years.
I think, just automation in general is kind of the core concept, right? Is like anything that a machine can do, the machine should be doing. Like there's certain things that only humans can do, which
Yeah.
is sit across from a homeowner and
Yeah.
and really, like you said, vibe with that homeowner and have that energy. Like, that's where we need to invest. And you need the best people with the right training doing that job, and everything else just needs to be handled. And, the dealers and the home improvement companies that are out there that, aren't fully automating their stack right now, they're going to, there's this consolidation happening, we talked about it. And, if you want to not only survive, but thrive, moving forward, like, you have to take that waste out of your business. Right. Because otherwise you're not as efficient as you can be, and you're not gonna win at the level you can as soon as that waste is gone.
Now, assuming somebody does want to begin with the end in mind and build a company for acquisition, how do you see all this technology integration and automation impacting the valuation of a company?
Oh, it's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge. I mean, when private equity comes along and starts scooping up these businesses, they want to make sure that they're running as streamlined, as possible. And so being able to say, hey, we've literally automated every single process. There's no waste here. Our customer experience scores are higher than our competitors. Our, time to value is higher than our competitors. Every single metric that you can imagine, your close rates, everything is going to be tuned and optimized by leveraging technology to the maximum extent. So you're going to be, an acquisition target way ahead of everyone else, just because you've already sort of achieved all these key outcomes.
Yeah. Yeah. And obviously the big question is, can your business keep running along absent of you, micromanaging everything? It's like,
yeah, that's the other huge thing. We haven't talked about that, but, running around with bubble gum and baling wire and trying to make sure that this team's talking to this team and everything's getting handed off right, and we have the right forms and everything, like, having a consistent workflow that is not only consistent, but completely observable. Like, as an owner, you can now sit and look at a dashboard of your business end to end and know exactly where every single project's at and who's on point for what and how long, like a Kanban how long has this been stuck in this stage and what's going on and what's the blockers, and then continue to optimize. And do that from the comfort of your either your desk at the office or, from a beach in Hawaii if you want to on your phone. Like, this is an opportunity for owners to get to that level of efficiency so that they can step back and think more strategically and spend time on big picture items rather than moving paper around.
Yeah. And again, talking about Adrian again, he's come up a lot in this conversation, really good episode, but he talked about how much time he's spending simply just being that visionary leader that his team needs and trying to forecast the future and just kind of make sure we're prepared for where we're going next. A lot of owners don't spend really any time doing that, right? Just because they're so deep in the forest, they can't see through the trees, right?
Exactly.
So I think AI is kind of their bridge to get beyond that, so they can finally start working on their business, not in their business. So really, really important stuff. So if I'm a contractor that's overwhelmed by technology and don't even know where to begin, I guess, how do you recommend someone takes that first step and to start using AI in their life or start automating certain parts of their business? Like, where would you recommend they begin?
I mean, I think the easiest part is start on the front end, start on your inbound lead capture.
Yeah.
So there's two parts to that. One is all your web form leads and all your inbound phone calls. And you can even start with an after hours only approach, right? Like, if you want to have
that's a no-brainer. The fact that everyone's not doing that already is insane.
It's insane. It's the lowest hanging fruit, right? Now, the moment you turn on AI agents to, qualify and book leads after hours, now you also get to go change your Google business listing to be open 24 hours because you have somebody actually answering the phone, answering questions for customers, booking appointments. That also helps your search relevance. So there's this cascading impact of just doing that one thing, and it doesn't impact your 9-to-5 operations at all. So if you're worried about change management within your organization, like, this is the easiest, lowest hanging fruit thing you can freaking do, and you're going to immediately see, a massive uptick in your lead capture. And then if you layer on automation of your web form lead capture using things like SMS agents. I mean, I'd say almost 30% of our leads that are coming through for web form captures are happening after hours. And they're not used to getting an instant response. And
so imagine anyone watching this, like you could increase your productivity by over 30% by just implementing that one thing that doesn't impact anybody.
Exactly.
And everything's still the same as far as you know it, but yeah, you're just optimizing your business that much more.
So that's what we would say is, like just dip your toe in the water there. You don't have to do any other major change management within the organization, and just see what happens.
Yeah.
And I assure you that the results will be so profound that you'll be trying to figure out, okay, how do we go and do this, more broadly across the thing? And then you start moving further down the funnel from lead capture to other parts of the sales process and so on. But, that does seem overwhelming when we say, hey, it's this whole, big drop-in replacement. That's not what we want people to be thinking about. We want to say, okay, how can we pick off pieces of this that are going to add immediate ROI and immediate profit to your bottom line that you'll be able to see in the first month?
Yeah.
And then we can talk further about how can we help, drive this throughout your organization.
Yeah. I mean, obviously every topic you've discussed to me is kind of a no-brainer. Like it all makes perfect sense, but I'd say certainly in the front end and the call center, making that available 24/7, and then the rehash component, to me, those are two, like everyone should be pouncing on that yesterday, because that is just money sitting there, a gold mine you're sitting on, where it doesn't really impact anybody in any different way at all. It's just you being more optimal with how you're capturing things inbound, and then how you're managing after the sale is made or not made, like the rehash component, which is lacking for most companies in a big way.
And one other thing I'll add on the rehash is, I mentioned the survey earlier. That, a lot of companies do surveys, most of them don't. But being able to have a really smartly managed survey after any kind of encounter with a homeowner is starting to give you other signals, for the business. How can we improve our presentation? And oh, these reps aren't showing up on time or whatever, we didn't even realize that. What are the different elements of that experience that you can optimize that have nothing to do necessarily with technology optimization, but other parts of the organization. So just, there's so many things that you can layer in here that it's going to give you signal that's going to help you, sort of reach that next level.
Yeah, I'm assuming you could just ask the AI or look at the data, based on every rehash call you've made, what are the common patterns and trends you're seeing amongst the sales team, and then you could get
you can literally ask that question and you'll get an answer.
Yeah, that's insane. And that would help me tailor my next, several rounds of sales trainings and meetings with my team, make sure we can get dialed in.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's insane. I mean, just being able to make data-driven decisions instead of licking your finger and sticking it up in the air and guesswork. A lot of people just guess when they make decisions in their business. So we have the tools and resources now where you don't have to guess anymore. You can run your business having full clarity and transparency on where you're at, where you need to go, how do you need to get there. So there's no reason. So if I'm a window and door company and I reach out to Window Edge, can you kind of explain what a typical onboarding process looks like? Obviously there's different window manufacturers out there, different product lines. So how does that onboarding process look? Do you typically start in the call center and then move to sales? Can you just kind of walk through that?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely start on the kind of lead capture process because it's fairly uniform, not exactly uniform, but fairly uniform across window and door dealers and in other home improvement organizations in terms of you have a set of qualification criteria, you have a region or a service area that you operate in, and you're just trying to make sure that you're qualifying the customer and getting them set up for that initial call, right? So what we do there is the first thing we'll do is we'll automatically go and basically scrape your entire website and every piece of information that's publicly available about how you do business, what products you offer, what services you offer, whatever. And then we'll train the agent on that. And then we'll use a bunch of patterns that we've already learned and have been optimized already to reduce that call time, be as efficient as possible, and create the best outcomes based on the data that we've been already able to observe through running this thousands and thousands and thousands of calls that we've already run. So we have a pretty good idea of what works. So we'll take your specifics and the best practices, and we'll merge them together, and we'll create you both a voice agent and an SMS agent that are ready to go within literally a few days. Most of our customers can onboard within 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And that'll get you set up for that sort of first part of the sales funnel. Now, we also do integration. If you have a CRM system that you're using that you want to continue using, or a calendar system that you want to continue using, as long as it's a semi-modern, built in the last 10 or 15 years, and it's got an API surface area, we can usually integrate very easily and quickly and make sure that the data is synchronizing appropriately between the Window Edge system and your system. So it's a fairly light lift to get to that level of proficiency with both the voice agent and the SMS inbound lead capture.
Do you integrate with Go High Level?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So Grosso University is going to be getting this technology rocking and rolling very soon. I can tell you that we need it. We need this. Awesome. So yeah, I mean, it sells itself really. I mean, it's a no-brainer. So just keep in mind, you're going to be getting a lot more outreach from Grosso University with AI agents very soon. No, I mean, it's absolutely incredible what you're building. And I'm really excited to see as you continue to advance this and evolve it. And of course, spreading beyond the window and door space. I mean, this technology is for any business of any kind, really, but certainly in the home improvement, it is absolutely a gift. And I think it's going to enhance every pillar, every individual job, and it's going to allow people to have a lot more pleasant experience, like you said, from the CSR agent or the sales rep to the customer, the end customer. The whole experience is going to be greatly enhanced in every form of the fashion, and that's where I love how AI is being implemented. Obviously, I'm not a huge fan where people are blatantly trying to use AI to eliminate jobs. Yeah. And of course, that's going to happen no matter what we do. But when we can use AI to enhance and make things better for people, make that human experience more enjoyable. Because like I said before, it simply wasn't working the way the old model, what we were doing. Too many people getting burnt out. We call them shooting stars in the industry, where they shine bright for a little while, but then they burn away and fizzle out. We want to build shining stars, right? Where they shine bright year after year, shine brighter. And your technology, I think, is going to build a lot more shining stars with that superpower they have at their fingertips.
Yeah, I believe that. I think so. It's awesome.
So if someone wants to do a full comprehensive deep dive into Window Edge AI, do a demo, or maybe even test it for themselves, like what's the best way to do that?
Yeah, go to windowedge.ai. There's a book demo button on there, and you can either fill out a form and you'll get an automated response from our AI agent that you can ask questions to, and also schedule an appointment with us. So we're eating our own dog food here. We're using our technology to help sort of nurture people who are interested as well. We do have a phone number also that you can call. That's a demo number that is, I think it's called West Coast Window Inc. or something.
Love it.
So just experience what that feels like from the homeowner's perspective, and what does the voice sound like, and how natural is it? How knowledgeable is it? How smooth is this process? So all that's available for you on our website, and then we're happy to jump on a call, demo the rest of the process, answer any questions that anyone has. I mean, we're still humans. We're still standing behind this as human beings and want to have those interactions with you.
I'm not talking to a hologram AI right now.
So no, we still deeply believe in the human process. Yeah. But again, the front end lead capture stuff is better handled by AI.
No, that's amazing. So they have an opportunity to talk to the AI, to test it for themselves, to see if they can break it. And one question I did have, and I don't know if there's any research on this, do people have a preference talking to like a male or female AI? And how do you, what are the steps you're taking to make the voice sound more natural? Because I'm assuming that's not easy to do.
Yeah, it's so to answer your first question, I don't know that there's a lot of definitive research on this. There's anecdotal stuff out there, but it's really preference. We want to create as much flexibility as possible for our dealers, and some dealers are going to want one version or another. We can also do things like have 20% of your calls be answered by this voice, and 80% answered by this voice, or 50-50, and then let's look at the outcomes and see. Yeah, we haven't run those experiments yet in production, but that's definitely something that the technology enables. So if a dealer wanted to have that level of experimentation, we could set that up for them. Most of the voices that we use are from a company called 11 Labs. They're one of the leading voice AI providers out there, and they have thousands of voices. And you can also clone a voice. If you have a voice that I think they even sell celebrity voices, and you can clone a voice. So we have a lot of flexibility.
I'll sell mine for a low fee.
Yeah. So lots of options.
People listen to my voice too much as it is. They don't need it on their phones. No, that's amazing. Because I just think, and again, this is just, throwing stuff against the wall. But I think, imagine if a woman's calling, if it's a female's phone number, and then the AI would transition to the female voice or someone that's like them, because people want to talk and buy from people like them. And if I know it's a guy, it's going to transition to a guy AI. I don't know if there's any benefit to that at all. It's just kind of curious.
Yeah, the technology is obviously there. I mean, we could certainly try to predict based on the name of the caller ID.
Can you imagine that though? Like as they're calling, it's pulling data points, and it's like it knows it's a Seahawks fan. It's like, how about that Seahawks game, and then get the guy to really start talking about it, and like
that borders on creepy.
Yeah, that is creepy.
Borders on creepy, and I don't think people are quite ready for that. But there's no technological barrier to finding some of that stuff out and doing that.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. I just want to congratulate you on what
sir.
you're building. Because anything that can level up the home improvement industry, try to add more method to the madness, make it more professional, improve the lives. That's what you're doing. You're changing lives in a positive way. This is not anything that's going to have a negative impact on the home improvement businesses that implement it. So if you're looking to optimize your marketing engine, your sales engine, your whole business, if you're in the window and door space for sure right now, and you're going to be branching out to other product verticals in the very near future, make sure you reach out to Window Edge AI. They are a friend of Grosso University. And I mean it when I say it, we actually have tested this product. We've tried to break it. It is definitely best in class for what we've seen. And we're going to be implementing this ourselves in the very near future, because I'm a firm believer, if you're going to speak out about a product, you should probably, use it yourself. So that's the ultimate endorsement of all. So another powerful episode of the Profits for Sanity podcast. So Craig, I finish every podcast with the following line. In the world of business, volume is for vanity and profit is for?
Sanity.
Okay, you want to shoot the money gun? This is the tradition here.
Woo!
Oh, no, you got jammed. You got air in the line. You just could pull that dollar out and see if... There it goes. Yeah. All right. So I appreciate your time, everyone who watched this. Hopefully you took away a lot of valuable tips and insights on how you can grow and scale a more profitable business. I know there's about 1.5 billion podcasts you could be watching. Your time is very valuable. So make sure you tune in for more episodes of the Profits for Sanity podcast as I bring on the brightest minds in the home improvement industry that can educate you how to grow and scale a more profitable company. So I appreciate your time, and we'll see you on the next one.